Up next at End of the Day Beer Review, we're going to be looking at the Old Fitzgerald variant of the Bourbon County Reserve brand 2-year barley wine by Goose Island. Check it out. Hi everybody, it's Rich, and today I am looking at something very special. I've had this cellared for a year now. This is the Bourbon County Reserve brand 2-year barley wine, and this is the variant with that was aged for 2 years in Old Fitzgerald barrels. Now I know a lot of people couldn't get this variant last year, and I was able to get two, and for some reason it just fell through the cracks of the reviews. So this has some really interesting information on it, and as always, the packaging on the Goose Island variants, particularly the really high-end variants, is really elaborate and nice. So we're going to go through the whole thing. And this says, Goose Island Bourbon County Reserve brand 2-year stout. After 5 years away, we couldn't think of a better way to welcome back our barley wine back into the Bourbon County brand family than with a 2-year reserve. We were fortunate enough to be able to age this year's expression in 3 exceptional sets of barrels from varying releases of Old Fitzgerald's Bottle and Bond Decanter series, 14, 16, and 17-year-old barrels. These exclusive barrels and subtle natures within them further showcase the complexities found in our barley wine, a tapestry woven of rich malt entwined with notes of toffee, vanilla, and warming spices. Our 2-year reserve barley wine is ready to drink now, but cellars up to 5 years. Now, I gave it a year, and like I said, and on the side there is a whole thing about Old Fitzgerald Bottle and Bond, which I unfortunately have not been able to get, because every time I look online, a bottle of that bourbon is like $2,000 or something. So let's crack this open, and they always do an interesting sort of bottle, unboxing experience. So it looks to me like, yep, there's a tab on the side. Pull the tab down, and that opens it. And this seems to pull out. Does it? Did I just totally screw up this unboxing? I may have. But then this pulls out. Wow, you really have to destroy the packaging to get at this. So this is, if you find one, it has to be the original, because this is what happens to the packaging when it's all said and done. You pull off the innards and the tab that goes with it. And let's see. So this is Bourbon County Reserve brand 2-year barley wine, and it is 2022, and it is coming in at 17% ABV. Now, normally I like to share these bottles, but today is a special day. It is the first day of our holiday vacation, and I always like to start that off with a special beer. So let's crack this one open. And we got some good carbonation and a bad opener there. And let's see the pour. I am using my Goose Island glass. Oh, I have to tell you right off the bat, enormous aroma of bourbon coming up. And I've just opened the bottle, and it's really, really enticing. So let's see what the pour looks like. So this is not the typical color of a Goose Island stout. This is sort of a dark brown, almost a chestnut. Good carbonation on it. In fact, it seems a little overly carbonated from what I expected. The head is slowly dissipating. Not quite a full pinky of head there. So, and it is dissipating rather fast. But I'll tell you something. The bar right now is just filled with the aroma of this beer. And it is so nice. The bourbon's there. It's this nice, mellow, I want to say, like, you get everything they're talking about, tasting notes, and I haven't even put my nose to the glass, which is really impressive. So let's see what the nose is like. It's wonderful, quite frankly. It is wonderful. So a lot of that bourbon aroma on the front end of it, but there's definitely some sweetness in the nose. I want to say some vanilla that's there. And actually, in the glass, this is much darker than I initially thought the pour was going to be. Definitely some legs that is clinging to the glass, a little bit of lacing. It almost looks like you're drinking, I don't want to say a spirit, but like a dark sort of rum, I guess, but it's really, really something else. Let's see what else I get. The nose vaguely reminds me of the 2022 fig. I'm getting that sort of dark fruit aroma there. And again, really nice sort of oaky aroma of the bourbon, but more pronounced than normal, I might add. But there's a certain sweetness to the nose that's really enjoyable. Really, really enjoyable. In fact, the nose, I really hope, you know, I remember 2022, I tried the, what was that called? It was the biscotti, and the nose was phenomenal, and then it was so disappointing. So I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case here. So yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful nose. Let's see what it tastes like. Oh, that's very nice. And very mellow. You would never, ever know this was 17% alcohol. Up, and then it hit my stomach, and the warmth bloomed, and it's really a beautiful beer. Let's try to go through the tasting notes here. It's much more subtle in a good way than the average Bourbon County. And what I mean like that is normally the Bourbon County is right up in your face with the chocolate and the bourbon and everything. This is a much more mellow beer. And so as I drink it, I'm getting all the bourbon up front. It's really nice. There's that oakiness that comes from the bourbon barrel itself. The barley wine is imparting a nice flavor to it too. I'm getting some dark fruit, almost figginess there. There's that smokiness that goes with the bourbon. There's not the chocolate that I'm used to from Bourbon County is just not there at all, which is really interesting because it's such a major component of every Bourbon County stout that I've ever had. To be drinking a Bourbon County and not getting that chocolate component is really sort of a new experience for me because I did not have the barley wine in 2018. In fact, if I remember correctly, 2018, I was obsessed with the vanilla and not with the barley wine. I think I might have a 2018 barley wine. I may have to check that out, excuse me, just by itself. This coats the mouth beautifully. It's not syrupy, but it's definitely thick. It's definitely chewy. That alcohol burn in the belly is much more pronounced now as you have the second sip. But you know, I'm really amazed at how complex this is. I want to say I'm getting vanilla, some of that dark fruit. There's a certain sweetness to it that I'm really enjoying, and all of this is mixed with that, you know, that bourbon barrel sort of oaky char flavor that you get from a Bourbon County. This is a very interesting beer. Now, do I regret opening it tonight? I do not. This is just wonderful to drink. Now, this is a sipper. I want to make that clear. In fact, I think this bottle might last to tomorrow night because at 17%, there is definitely a pronounced pronounced warmth in my stomach, and this is really, really nice. It's almost like drinking a very mellow bourbon in and of itself, because the bourbon is really the major player here. There's a certain amount of malt that you're getting here. There's a really nice bitterness on the back of the tongue. There's that sweetness. This is just so complex and so enjoyable to take apart. Now, does it hit all the tasting notes? Because I'm actually having a hard time defining all of this. So let's see what it has on here. Okay, so barley wine aged for 2 years, and they don't give any tasting notes on the bottle at all to help you out. Now, on the box, they did say that there was a rich malt. I get that. Vanilla, I get the vanilla. It's subtle, but it's there. They also say notes of toffee, vanilla, and warming spices. I don't know about warming spices, but the alcohol itself is definitely warming my stomach, and it's really, really nice. This is a cold weather drink, if ever I've come across one. I could definitely see sitting there by a fire and just, you know, slowly sipping this over the course of a night. And at 17%, you would have to sip it, because it is, now I'm starting to feel the alcohol in my stomach. The carbonation on this is perfect. I thought initially when I poured it that it seemed a little bit vigorous, but it's not. It's enough that as you swallow, it opens up a whole secondary layer of flavor that sort of comes through the sinuses that you can sort of like taste on the back of your tongue. And it really makes this sort of a two-hit type of beer. The initial bourbon oakiness, the initial Bourbon County flavor, but then as you swallow it, you get this secondary, and there's the sweetness, and there's the vanilla, and again, there's this really nice warming of the belly that's coming from the 17%. Now, I've had other 17% beers. In fact, like I have a Dragon's Milk in the fridge. I have another, you know, back there that's 17%, and they're nice and normally harsh. Normally you feel the alcohol in the throat. Here, all of the alcohol is in the stomach, and it's a really enjoyably drinking beer. Now, the pity is, of course, that there's so few of these and they were so hard to get. But I'll tell you something, this is phenomenal. I did not try it fresh because I only purchased two. So, you know, like I said, last year in the hectic race to get the reviews out and all of this, I sort of didn't want to waste what I think was a $40 or $60 beer. I can't remember which. It was pricey. I wanted to wait till I had time to enjoy it, had time to actually sit down and talk about it. And you know, I'm so glad I did, because I've noticed sometimes some of the variants are a little hot out of the bottle. The alcohol is a little bit overwhelming, and it mellows over the course of a year. Well, you know what? This is just so nice and so easy drinking and so enjoyable that you know, and again, I'm talking sort of in the blind here because I didn't have it fresh, but I can't imagine that this would have been any better as soon as it came out last year. I can only imagine that it has mellowed and become more subtle and more, you know, complex as the time has gone by. So I will tell you right now, you know, is it my favorite from 2022? I don't think it is. Is it exceptional? Yeah, it's definitely exceptional. I still think my favorite for 2022 was the Sir Isaac's, but you know, I really enjoyed that one. But damn if this isn't one of the best Bourbon Counties that I've had. You know, and as far as 2 years in the barrel, I think it's imparted such a nice level of flavor to it that, you know, I wish Goose Island could produce more of this. I hope they'll do this again. I realize how labor intensive and time intensive this type of beer is, but I have to say, the final product that they produce is just beautiful. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna call this a night, and I'm gonna sit back because it's just such a good beer. If you have one of these in the cellar, this is the type of thing that you open on Christmas or Christmas Eve or New Year's or whatever holiday you're going to be celebrating. This is the beer for that holiday. It's definitely one that you want to share. It's definitely one that you want to take your time and enjoy and see how it develops. And I'll tell you something, it's just a wonderful beer. Would I hunt it up on the secondary market? You know, if I could get it at, you know, MSRP, I would definitely buy another one. If I could get it for under, let's say, $100, I might even be tempted to get another one just to see what it's like down the line. But, you know, it's one of those beers that if you have it, it's a good time to break it open, give it a try, and see how it's aged. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe, comment. I love having the Bourbon County comments with the people who have tried this. And, you know I've watched a few of the reviews of this when it was fresh, and I will tell you that waiting the year has not harmed this beer, in my opinion, at all. If anything, it's made it, you know, more mellow. And again, I realize I did not try it fresh, but I can't imagine that this would have been, you know, significantly better if it had been tried, you know, on Black Friday of 2022. Anyway, folks, I hope you liked the video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and I will see you next time on End of the Day Beer Review. Cheers.